In the lively township of Soweto lived a beautiful girl named Lulu. Lulu had always known she was different. From the moment she could understand the world around her, she realized that her family was poor. Not just poor in the way everyone in Soweto was, but they were stuck in a cycle of poverty that seemed unbreakable. Her mother had been working as a cleaner at an expensive Santon hotel for over 20 years. Yet, she had nothing to show for it except aching knees and a salary that barely covered their rent. Their apartment was a small one-room space where the kitchen, bedroom, and living area all blended into one. The walls were cracked from years of neglect. The ceiling fan worked only when it felt like, and every morning, Lulu woke up to the smell of burning wood from the street vendors selling food outside. Even though this was the life she had known from birth, she hated it and she wanted more. Every night, Lulu would stay in bed scrolling through Instagram, watching girls her age flaunt expensive clothes, raw donor bone straight wig, and vacations in Dubai and islands. They would upload videos of themselves walking through luxury malls in designer heels, sipping on Moet and Chandon, and throwing captions like, "Hard work pays off. Another vacation? Why not? Some of us are just built differently." She knew some of them were fake, but it didn't matter. She wanted it at any cost. However, her best friend Tembi hated this obsession and tried to discourage her. "Lulu, you are dreaming too much. Life is not Instagram." But Lulu shook her head. "And life is not suffering either, Tembi. Look around us. We live like rats." "Well, as for me, I refuse to be another struggling Soweto girl." Tembi sighed. They had been best friends since childhood, but Lulu was getting harder to understand by the day. "Lulu, those girls do things to maintain that lifestyle. Do you really think an Instagram post is enough to pay for all that? Babe, they have rich men, sponsors. I even heard that some of them do dark things." Lulu rolled her eyes. "And so, if they can do it, why can't I?" "Because not everything is worth the price," Tembi argued. But unfortunately, her words meant nothing because Lulu had already made up her mind. She wasn't going to spend her life scrubbing floors like her mother. She would go for more. One afternoon, while scrolling through Instagram, Lulu came across a post that changed her life. "I am looking for a personal assistant. She must be beautiful, stylish, and confident. DM me if you are interested. Zara X." Zara X was an influencer and a socialite with 600,000 followers. She was a queen in Johannesburg influencer scene by every right. She had the perfect body, the perfect hair, and the perfect life. She lived in a penthouse in Santon, drove a Mercedes G-Wagon, and attended private yacht parties with South Africa's richest men. Lulu had followed her for years and she wanted to be her. So she saw this as a perfect opportunity. Without thinking twice, she typed a message. "Hi, my name is Lulu. I am confident, stylish, and hardworking. I would love to work with you." She prayed silently before pressing send. A few minutes later, her phone vibrated. Zara had replied, "Come to Santon Mall tomorrow at 3 p.m. Wear something nice." Lulu screamed out in excitement and immediately ran to Tembi's house. "I got a job." "Well, not a job yet, but I have a meeting with Zara X." Tembi frowned. "That influencer?" "Yes, she's looking for an assistant and I applied. This could be my way into the industry. Isn't it wonderful?" "Lulu, this is dangerous. You don't really know these people." Tembi, please don't start. Do you know how many girls would kill for this opportunity? Tembi sighed. She knew there was no stopping Lulu when she was determined. Fine, but be careful. The next day, Lulu borrowed a dress from Tembi, applied cheap makeup to make it look expensive, and took a taxi to Santon. For the first time in her life, she entered a luxury restaurant where the air smelled of expensive perfume and rich people's problems. She immediately felt out of place. Women strolled past her in designer clothes with glowing skin and perfectly sculpted bodies. She spotted Zara at a private table sipping a cocktail. The influencer barely looked up when Lulu arrived. "You're late," Zara said as she adjusted her sunglasses. Lulu's heart skipped. She was not late. In fact, she arrived 10 minutes early. Still, she apologized. "I am sorry. Never mind, just sit down." Lulu swallowed her nerves and sat. Looking at Zara up close now, Lulu realized she was even more beautiful than her pictures. Her lace wig was flawless. Her nails were long and sharp, and her gold earrings glistened under the restaurant lights. Lulu tried not to stare. Zara took a sip of her drink and eyed her. "You're pretty, that is important, but can you keep up?" "I can handle it," Lulu said, forcing confidence into her voice. Zara smirked. "We'll see then." And just like that, Lulu became her assistant. Lulu sat in the taxi on her way back home smiling. This was it. She was one step closer to the life she had always wanted. It felt so real, as though she had stepped into a dream. The words kept replaying in her head. "You are pretty, and that is important." For the first time in her life, someone had looked at her and seen potential. This someone was not even just another struggling girl from Soweto, but a social media goddess. She had chosen her. Zara had told her to meet her at her penthouse the next day. "Dress well and don't be late," was all she said before leaving the restaurant that day. Lulu spent the entire night picking an outfit. She had no designer clothes, no expensive heels, no human hair wig. But this was her chance, so she had to make it work. She had no choice but to borrow a beautiful black dress from Tembi, straightened her old wig, and made sure her lip gloss was shining. The next day, when she arrived at Zara's penthouse in Santon, she almost stopped breathing. It was a world of wealth she had never seen before. The building had glass walls reflecting the city skyline, and the security guard didn't even look at her twice before letting her in. He too had class. Inside, the penthouse was like something out of a Hollywood movie. It had floor-to-ceiling windows, velvet furniture, golden chandeliers, and an unreal view of Johannesburg. Zara emerged from her room, dressed in a silk robe, perfect makeup, and long bone-straight wig. "So, you made it?" "Yes," Lulu breathed, still amazed. "Good, let's get to work." At first, the tasks were simple. Lulu just had to organize Zara's schedule, respond to brand emails, and set up her ring lights for TikTok videos. But as the days passed, Lulu realized that Zara wasn't just an influencer. Her life online was only an illusion. Zara would spend hours posing for pictures, changing outfits, and taking videos of food she didn't even eat. One day, they had packed up for a private trip to Paris. They arrived at the airport, got on the private jets, and Zara asked her to take pictures of her sitting inside. However, immediately after the pictures, they got off the private jets, left the airport, and took a taxi home. Lulu was confused. "Wait, we are not flying anywhere?" Zara rolled her eyes. Sweetheart, I don't need to fly. I just need them to believe I am flying. Lulu's eyes opened wide in shock. This was the first lie she learned about the influencer world. It was not about being rich. Rather, it was about looking rich. And soon, Lulu wanted to play the game too. She was intrigued. After 2 weeks of working with Zara, Lulu had learnt a few things. Firstly, most influencers rented designer bags for photo shoots. They didn't own them. Secondly, the luxury cars they flaunted were often borrowed from wealthy men in exchange for their bodies, of course. The one that shocked her the most was that a lot of these boss babes weren't making money from Instagram. They were actually making it from men. One evening, as Zara was getting ready for a party, she turned to Lulu and said, I have seen the zeal in you. You want to come into our world. Anyway, you need to start looking expensive because nobody takes a broke girl seriously. But I don't have money for expensive things, Lulu admitted. Zara smirked. You don't need money, girl. You just need the right connections. That night, Zara took Lulu to a rooftop party in Santon, the kind of event Lulu had only seen in magazines. Women were draped in designer dresses, perfect nails and sparkling jewelry, and for the men, they were powerful, rich and dangerous. As soon as they sat down, Zara whispered and pointed to an older man in an expensive suit. That is Chief Damini. He likes beautiful young girls. Just smile and he will take care of you. Lulu hesitated. She had heard about the sponsors before, the men who funded influencer lifestyles, but she wasn't sure she was ready to get one yet. However, before she could respond, Chief Damini was already walking towards them. Zara, my favorite girl, he said smoothly and placed his hand on her waist. Then his eyes landed on Lulu. And who is this beauty? Zara smiled. This is Lulu. She's new in the game. Lulu felt exposed under his intense gaze. Chief Damini smiled and nodded approvingly. Fresh blood. Tell me, Lulu, do you like nice things? Lulu swallowed hard. Yes. Chief Damini smiled. Then let's talk. Come with me. That night, everything changed. The next morning, Lulu woke up to a notification on her phone. 30,000 rand had been deposited into her account. Her hands trembled. She had never seen that much money before. She stared at the notification unbelievably. Then, at that moment, she remembered something. She quickly scrolled through her phone's gallery and posted a picture of herself from the party last night, captioning it, "When you work hard, the rewards come." Surprisingly, the likes poured in, but the comments were filled with both jealousy and admiration. Lulu, you are glowing. Soft life suits you, babe. Ate and left no crumbs. Nobody asked where the money came from, and they didn't even need to know because the only thing that mattered now was that Lulu was officially in the game. Her relationship with the chief continued, and as the gifts and cash poured in, Lulu felt powerful than ever before. For the first time in her life, she could walk into luxury stores without the weight of poverty on her shoulders. She wasn't even window shopping. She was buying now. Designer bags, luxury heels, imported human hair wigs, bouncy, Curly, straight, long, short, just name it. When she stepped into restaurants, waiters treated her differently. They saw the expensive watch on her wrist, the diamonds in her ear, and the car keys in her hand. Even though the car belonged to Chief Damini, Johannesburg was finally bowing to her. But there was one problem. They were never satisfied. The more they had, the more they wanted. One evening, Zara sat her down for yet another lecture. You are not taking full advantage of your position, babe. They were sitting on the balcony of Zara's penthouse. What do you mean? Lulu asked. Zara smirked, as if the answer was obvious. You need more clients. Lulu stiffened. Clients? She hated that word. I thought Chief Damini was enough. Zara laughed. Sweetheart, a single man can only fund you for so long. Men get bored easily, so you need to have options. You need a roster. Lulu swallowed hard. She had tasted the soft life, but was she really ready to go deeper? Zara saw the hesitation in her eyes, and so she tried to convince her. Look, this isn't about sleeping with men. It is about positioning. You don't have to do anything unless you want to. Just play the game. First of all, you have to invest in your body. This game is all about perfection. Lulu looked down at herself. She had always been pretty, but next to Zara and the other influencers, she felt plain. What do you mean? She asked. I mean, you need to have a snatched waist, a lifted bum, and hips that can make a billionaire forget his wife and focus on you. Lulu laughed nervously. She had heard about BBLs and waist sculpting surgeries. She had seen pictures of girls with perfect curves and unreal bodies. But she had also heard the horror stories. Some of these girls went in for the surgery and never came out. Where do you go for yours? Lulu asked. Zara smirked. I don't go to hospitals, babe. I go to the underground clinics. They do it cheap and fast. Plus, you also recover fast. And so, that week, they went. The clinic was in a hidden building in town. It wasn't an official hospital. There were no signs and no licenses. It was just several white rooms with plastic surgery tables, foreign doctors with no name, and a waiting room full of Johannesburg influencers, all of them waiting to be sculpted. One girl named Eva started up a conversation with Lulu. She was a famous Instagram girl. I have done mine 3 times. You don't stop at 1. You have to maintain it. These men love fresh bodies. Lulu was really nervous. Something felt wrong, but she had already paid. Zara went in first, then Eva. When it was Lulu's turn, she lay on the table trying to calm her nerves. Then she heard a loud scream and a door burst open. At that moment, a body hit the floor. It was Eva. Her skin was pale and lifeless. The doctor shouted something in a foreign language, but Lulu couldn't process it. Zara rushed into the room and grabbed Lulu's arm. We have to leave now. Lulu was scared. What happened? But Zara didn't answer. As they came out of the room, they saw the doctor and his assistant already dragging Eva's lifeless body out of the room. There was no ambulance to salvage the situation. Lulu ran and never got the surgery again. After the surgery incident, Lulu swore to stay away from dangerous things, but the hunger for power was too strong, and Zara had not finished inducting her into the influencing world. She had another plan. See, Lulu, you need something stronger, something that will make these men obsessed with you. Lulu frowned. What do you mean? Zara lowered her voice. Do you think a man would just buy you a luxury car like that because of one night of pleasure? Even if he dug gold out of you, when there are many other available girls, even more beautiful than you. Lulu was intrigued. So what do I need to do? Zara leaned in. There is a woman who makes charms, real charms, such that men will give you millions without blinking, no matter what you ask. That is what we all do. Lulu couldn't wait to get fully equipped, and so that night they went. Lulu had expected to see an old woman, but the woman was young, her skin glowed, and she dressed really well. She didn't look like a traditional healer. Instead, she looked like a goddess. The woman handed them a black cloth. Remove your clothes and wrap this around you. Lulu and Zara stripped down and wrapped the fabric around their bodies. Then the woman brought out a bowl. Inside was a dark, thick liquid. Bathe in this and you will become powerful, she commanded. Zara went first. She dipped her hands in the bowl and started rubbing the liquid over her skin. Lulu watched as Zara's body shone like gold. Then Zara turned to Lulu. Your turn. Lulu shut her eyes, scooped the liquid in her hands and spread it over her chest, her arms and her thighs. The moment it touched her skin, she felt a rush of fire inside her. The woman laughed. From this night, no man will ever say no to you. It was done, and the effects were immediate. Lulu noticed that men stared at her differently now. Even Chief Damini, who had ignored her text for weeks, suddenly sent her 200,000 rand, which was triple of what she had requested. A billionaire she had only met once sent her a car as a gift. There were also men in her DMs begging for her attention. It was like magic. The more Lulu climbed, the more she changed. She was no longer the humble girl from Soweto. She now had influence, power, and attention. Her Instagram following had grown to over 50,000 followers. Brands were now reaching out to her. She was getting free PR packages and also getting publicly recognized in malls. People started calling her a rising star. Tembi texted one day, Lulu, I am so proud of you. You are really making it. Lulu stared at the message for a long time, feeling strange. Tembi didn't know the truth. She thought she was an influencer. She didn't know that the designer bags weren't hers, and that the luxury trips were paid for by men she barely liked. She didn't know about the secret mansion parties where shady deals were made in secret, and Lulu planned to keep it that way. But the problem with playing a dirty game was that eventually someone would want to see you fall. It started with a rumor. One morning, Lulu woke up to a DM from an anonymous account that read, "You think you can fool people forever? Wait and see." Her heart stopped. She clicked on the account, but it had no profile picture. Was this a joke? Before she could even process it, her phone started ringing. Zara was calling. Check Twitter, Zara said the moment Lulu picked up. Lulu opened the app and froze. She was trending. A gossip blog had just posted an expose about her. New influencer alerts. Meet Lulu, Johannesburg's newest IT girl. But sources say she's not as independent as she claims. Our sources confirm that she has a sponsor, a married billionaire who pays for her entire lifestyle. So, which is it? Hard work or hard work? Lulu felt sick. She dropped her phone and stared at the floor unbelievably. Who did this? Who could have done this? She thought really hard and came to the conclusion that it had to be someone who wanted to gain from her downfall. And the only person that knew too much and fitted that description was Zara. That evening, Lulu stormed into Zara's penthouse. Why? Why would you do this to me? Zara was sitting on her couch, drinking wine as though nothing was wrong. She smiled and swirled her glass. Darling, you were getting too big too fast. You are too ambitious. This industry doesn't like new girls who don't know their place. Lulu couldn't believe her ears. She felt like she had been punched. Zara, I thought you were my friend. Zara laughed. Friend? You are not worthy, sweetheart. I brought you into this world. I can take you out. Lulu's hands shook with rage. She had been loyal to Zara and had trusted her. But now she was being thrown away like trash. You are evil, Lulu cried. Zara took another sip of her wine and shrugged. Welcome to the influencer industry, babe. It is either you win or you get used. The next few weeks were hell for Lulu. She didn't know how to manage the bad publicity, and so it affected her negatively. Brands started pulling out as nobody wanted to work with an influencer caught in a scandal. Her followers too turned against her. Their comments were brutal. So Lulu is just another wannabe slay queen. We thought you were different. Chief Damini blocked her number. With the scandal, he couldn't be seen with her anymore. So, her income stopped overnight. Her penthouse too was gone. Her bank account was now draining fast. And suddenly, Lulu realized that in this fake world, she had no real friends. Zara had ruined her, and now she was stranded. Lulu sat in the dark crying as she scrolled through the hateful comments under her latest Instagram posts. Fake life. Slay queens always end up like this. It is a shame. We thought she was a real influencer. Her phone rang with missed calls from unknown numbers. The blogs had exposed her, and now the wolves were circling, about to devour her. She had lost everything: her reputation, her sponsors, her lifestyle. Zara had won. Lulu stared at herself in the mirror. Her once flawless skin was now covered in stress pimples. Her wigs were now messy and unkempt. The whole glamour was gone. But she wasn't going to stay down. No, she was going to fight. Since the industry was dog eat dog, she would retaliate. Zara had declared war, and she would give it to her. But not with words, with power, dark power. Lulu knew where to go. She had heard about a woman in Soweto, a powerful Sangoma who could change destinies. The woman's house was deep inside the township, hidden away from easy access. The moment Lulu stepped inside, she felt the dark and evil presence. Candles flickered in the dark, and strange symbols covered the walls. An old woman sat on a mat. "You have come to me broken," the woman commented, without Lulu saying a word. Lulu was boiling. "I want revenge," the woman smiled. "Revenge is not cheap, child. Are you ready for the prize?" Lulu thought of Zara sitting in her penthouse, still drinking wine, feeling untouchable, and she clenched her fists. "Yes, I am ready." The old woman nodded slowly. "There is a way, but once you start, you cannot turn back." She gave Lulu a red cloth, a black candle, and a bottle filled with dark liquid. "You pour this liquid on your tongue every night," she instructed. "It will make your words powerful. When you speak against someone, their life will turn to dust." Lulu's hands shook as she took the bottle. "And what about Zara?" she asked. The woman smiled coldly. "She will pay." That night, Lulu lit the black candle, wrapped the red cloth around her waist, and poured 3 drops of the dark liquid onto her tongue. The taste was bitter and burning. She closed her eyes shut as she felt a strange energy rush through her veins. However, when she opened them moments later, she wasn't the same Lulu anymore. This Lulu had power now, and she was going to use it. The first sign that it was working came 3 days later when Zara posted a picture on Instagram smiling at a yacht party in Cape Town. "Life is beautiful when you mind your business," she captioned it. Lulu smirked darkly. "We shall see." That night, she lit her candle, called out Zara's name 3 times and spoke. "Everything you built will collapse." Just like magic, the next morning, Lulu woke up to the results. Zara's name was trending in a scandal. An anonymous blog had leaked bank statements showing Zara's secret dealings with married men. Immediately, her brand deals were cancelled, her followers turned against her, and her sponsors too disappeared. She tried to deny it using PR, but the evidence was too strong. Zara was losing, but Lulu was only just getting started. A week later, Lulu sat in a private club in Santon, watching the industry crumble. The people who had laughed at her downfall were now being exposed. Chief Damiani's secret affairs had been leaked too, and influencers were being dragged online. Lulu was no longer afraid. She was in control now, but the power was making her reckless. That night, she called Zara. Zara picked up. "What do you want, Lulu?" Lulu smiled darkly. "To see you suffer." Zara shook her head. "You don't know what you have done, Lulu. This industry doesn't let you win." Lulu laughed. "But I already won." And with that, she hung up. That night, Zara disappeared. There were no more Instagram updates from her, no club appearances, and no one knew where she had gone. The blogs began to speculate. Did Zara flee the country? Was she arrested? Is she dead? But Lulu didn't care. She had gotten her revenge, and that was all that mattered. What she did not know, however, was that the battle was far from over. One night, Lulu woke up to whispers. At first, she thought she was dreaming, but as she opened her eyes, she felt it. Something was watching her. She sat up slowly, reached for her phone and checked Instagram. Zara was still missing. Lulu should have felt victorious, but something was wrong. The shadows in the corner of her bedroom shifted. She blinked, and for a moment, she could swear that she saw the figure of a woman standing in the dark watching her. Her hands trembled as she turned on her phone's flashlight and aimed it at the shadow, but there was nothing or no one there. The next morning, Lulu tried to shake off the feeling. Maybe she was just paranoid, or maybe the stress of everything, the rituals, the scandal, and the revenge was finally getting to her. She decided to step out, believing that fresh air would help. She put on her best outfit, her designer sunglasses, and headed to a private cafe. She ordered a cappuccino, took out her phone, and started scrolling mindlessly. Then suddenly, she got a notification. It was a message from Zara's account that read, "Did you really think it was over?" Lulu dropped the phone as her heart pounded wildly. She picked up her phone again with shaky hands and clicked on the message, but the account was gone. It was deleted. A cold shiver ran down her spine. Was someone playing games with her, or was it something else? Lulu had a bad feeling. Something was coming, but she didn't know what it was. That night, Lulu locked all her doors. She didn't know why, but her instincts told her that she was no longer safe. She lit the black candle she had been given by the Sangoma and prayed, "Protect me." But the moment the flame came to life, the room changed. The air became thick and the shadows grew darker. And then she heard a loud bang on the door. Lulu was sweating profusely by now. Suddenly, her phone vibrated in her lap. She had a new message from a hidden number. She opened it and saw, "Come outside." Lulu froze and she hugged herself tightly on her bed. However, the knocks on the door continued, harder and louder. After a moment, it died down and Lulu stood up slowly and walked towards the door. Her heart was pounding so loudly that she could barely hear herself breathe. She held the handle, turned it and opened the door, but there was nothing, just darkness. She let out a breath of relief. But just as she was about to close the door, a hand grabbed her wrist. Lulu screamed and looked up. She froze when she saw Zara, or probably what was left of Zara, because her once flawless face was now hollow and sunken, and her eyes were pure black. She didn't look human at all. Lulu screamed and ran out of her house that night without looking back. But even as she ran, she kept on hearing strange voices. A week later, an article surfaced online. Influencer Lulu missing for days. Her friends and family are deeply concerned. Could it be another case of social media fame gone wrong? However, days later, a shocking video was trending on Instagram. It was a video of Lulu roaming mad in the markets. She was dressed in tattered rags, but she wore a red heels and held a matching red bag, as though she was still in her influencing era. But now, she was influencing for the mad people community. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What did you learn from this story? And please share the story out with your loved ones. Give the story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!